Hello everyone, I'm Herb Day, and this is Beyond the Stage. Today we take our cameras on the road to Nashville, Tennessee, to the world-famous Nashville Troubadour to visit with one of the biggest names in country music, Whispering Bill Anderson. Bill has enjoyed a career as perhaps the most recorded songwriter in any field. Many years as a singer and entertainer, and being active in the music business since the late 50s. He's also senior ranking member of the Grand Ole Opry. Stay with me and enjoy a visit with Whispering Bill Anderson right after this. Beyond the Stage is made possible in part by Southern State Community College's Truck Driving Academy, where you can be behind the wheel of a big rig in as soon as 4 weeks. Call 937-393-3431 to find out how. And now, Beyond the Stage. Hello everyone and welcome to Beyond the Stage. I'm excited about this edition of Beyond the Stage because one of my country music heroes is with me on this. We worked a long time to make this happen. We've talked on the phone, but I wanted to sit down and talk to him face to face. Bill Anderson, Whispering Bill Anderson.
What's left of it?
What's left of it after taxes, huh?
I didn't overdress for this, did I?
I think it's just about right.
You know, I got to thinking today, people are so used to seeing us, like on the Grand Ole Opry and places.
Yeah.
We try to dress a little bit, look like we didn't sleep in our clothes the night before. But I've got two careers. I've got the performing career and then the songwriting career. Now this is more like what I wear when I go to write songs with some of my buddies, Just get comfortable and relax and don't put on anything fancy. I knew you weren't a real fancy type guy either.
Oh, yeah, I'm real fancy.
Just be comfortable.
In fact, Patty made me redress before it came. So she said, "You're not going to dress like that."
Oh, you clean up good.
Not too bad. I got to get it back to the funeral home in a little bit. Bill, you're an icon. I'm not the first one to say that, but I am just amazed at your accomplishments down through the years. I know all of the sites say that you've been active since '57, but you've been active before that. And you were born and raised in South Carolina.
Born in Columbia, South Carolina. I lived there till I was 8 years old. My parents were both from Georgia, and their parents were getting up in years, and they wanted to move back closer to home. So right after my 8th birthday, we moved to a little town called Decatur, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta, and that's really where I grew up. You get very far away from just say, okay, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Everybody knows where that is.
Yeah.
But I've been in Nashville, Tennessee so long now that, this is certainly home more than anywhere else I've ever been.
It's funny, as you go through life, you have different chapters of your life, and they're all real, but they're separate.
Mm-hmm.
And some seem so much longer ago, and some seem not so long ago.
Yeah.
So there you are, you're in Georgia, and you're a young man, and you're deciding what you want to do. Now, I know that you went to the University of Georgia. Was that before or after the radio gig?
During. When I went to the University of Georgia, I went there with every intention of playing baseball. I was a left-handed pitcher of sorts, and I wanted to see how far I might go in that world. And got over to Athens, Georgia, and met a couple of guys older than me who were going to school on the GI Bill, and they were both guitar pickers. And I'd been messing around. I had a little band in high school, and I'd kind of been messing around with music. And all of a sudden, baseball wasn't quite so important. We got our little band together and got us a gig on the local radio station. And next thing I knew, I was heading down that road and instead of on my way to Wrigley Field to be a star pitcher for the Chicago Cubs.
What? Wow. What was the allure to music?
That's really a good question. I don't know. My mom and dad used to tell me that I could find the hillbillies, which they called them back in those days. I could find the hillbillies on the radio a long time before I could tie my shoes. There was just something about the music
Yeah.
It was like a magnet. It just drew me.
Right.
My parents were not entertainers. They liked music. They were not, into it nearly like I was from such an early age. The only explanation, the only way I know to explain it is just to say it was born in me.
Yes.
That's all I know.
Did your parents encourage you or discourage you? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, both.
They kept thinking I was going to put down that guitar and come home and get a real job.
Yeah.
No, they encouraged. The greatest gift, I've told a lot of people this, the greatest gift my parents gave me was the freedom to be myself.
Yes.
They let me be what I wanted to be and do what I wanted to do, within certain parameters. I mean, I had to go to school, keep my grades up, and, do things like that. But they saw that I was interested in music. They knew it was important to me, and they allowed me to go chase my dream.
What did your parents do for a living?
My dad was in the insurance business. He had a little small insurance agency in Decatur. I was his only son. I had one sister. And Daddy thought, I'm sure, that I was going to grow up and take over his business. I know that's what he wanted me to do. And I worked for him one summer. Let me tell you a funny story. My dad let me come in and work in the insurance office during the summer. And, I was sort of interested in it, but not really. But up on the second floor, up over his office, was a radio station. You know where this is going.
The kiss of death right there.
I'd pack my lunch every day and go to work at his office. I'd watch that clock go and hit noon. I'd run up the stairs with my paper sack lunch and eat a sandwich and just stare at those people on the other side of the glass at that radio station. Because that just had a lot more appeal to me than the insurance business did. And like I say, Daddy gave me the freedom to be myself and to go after what I dreamed about.
Well, at what point did the people on the other side of the glass give you the motion? Say, come on over.
When they give me the finger.
I've had that many times in the business.
Well, it was a daytime station,
Yeah.
which meant that, at sundown, the station signed off the air. So what they would do after the station signed off is they would have local bands from around the area come in, and they would tape record live music shows that would be played back, sometime later in the week. And that's when I really got into it. I would go in there, and they would let me come in. I'd go in there and get on the other side of that glass and just sit there. I'm sure my eyes were big as $half and silver dollars, and I'd sit there and watch them play that music for just as long as they'd let me.
Yeah.
I was just eating up with it.
And that was your kind of music then?
Oh yeah, totally.
You grew up
I never listened to. I listened to other kinds of music, but I didn't gravitate toward anything but country music.
Now, was it that stage of your life that inspired Lord Have Mercy on a Country DJ?
Well, after that, after I left there and went to the University of Georgia, and after my freshman year, I got a job as a disc jockey on a local radio station in Athens. And that's kind of where my appetite really got whetted, I really fell ever more in love with it.
Yeah.
Sitting there between those turntables and playing those records, you've been
There's
there.
nothing like it. Nothing like it.
I loved it. And that's when I wrote Country DJ after that, but it was based on those experiences.
Now, City Lights was the one that propelled you into Nashville.
I went to a little town called Commerce, Georgia, north of Athens, while I was still in school. The station in Athens wouldn't let me play enough country music. And I said, I want to play country music. So they signed on a little station in a town called Commerce, Georgia, north of Athens. And I went up there, and they let me play country music to my heart's content.
Oh, no.
I lived in a little 3-story hotel in Commerce, tallest building in town. I used to take my guitar up on the roof at night, sit up there and just pick and sing to the stars, And wrote the song City Lights up there one night. Totally changed my life.
But it's really interesting how that song made it to Nashville and drew you to Nashville.
I recorded it first. I cut it for a little label in San Antonio, Texas called TNT Records.
Mhm.
And when my record came out, I got as many copies as I could, and I sent them to everybody in Nashville that I thought might listen to them. You know, all the magazines, the newspapers, the trade papers that reviewed records, you know, and this kind of thing. So there was a man in Nashville in those days named Charlie Lamb. And Charlie had a paper called the Music Reporter. And I sent a copy of my record of City Lights to Charlie and just, you know, asked, you know, wanting him to review it from his paper. Well, he really listened to it. And not only did he listen to it and give it a nice review in his paper, he liked the song so much that he took my little TNT record over to Chet Atkins at RCA. And Chet heard it. And Chet recorded it with an artist he was producing named Dave Rich, a boy from up in Central City, Kentucky. And Ray Price heard Dave Rich's record on the radio. And the rest is history, I guess. So.
Now let me stop you right there. Here you are chasing your dream. And you've got a foothold. You know, maybe a little slippery foothold, but you see things beginning to happen. Tell me about the excitement in the heart of young Bill Anderson at that moment.
Well, number one, I was so excited when Dave Rich recorded it because I was a big fan of Dave. He was a singer that had a great style and a great voice. He never got that monster hit that he wanted. Ended up becoming an evangelist and preaching all around the world. But I was just thrilled when the Dave Rich record came out. And then, of course, when Ray Price got it, I mean, this was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Roger Miller called me. Roger was working with Ray, and he and I had become friends when he was stationed in Atlanta in the Army. And Roger called me about 10 o'clock in the morning. I was at the radio station. He said, "You're not going to believe this," but he said, "Ray Price cut City Lights last night." I said, "No, you're right, I don't believe it." But 2 or 3 more phone calls later in the day, and finally I realized he really did cut it.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that opened all the doors for me in Nashville, because, you know, you can come to Nashville and say, I write songs and I sing and I want to do this, but getting that foot in the door, like you say, is difficult.
Yeah.
But when you can knock on the door and say, hey, I've written some songs and I like to sing a little bit, and by the way, I wrote a song called City Lights. Oh, well, come in, have some coffee.
Why didn't you say
What else
so?
have you written?
Yeah, really. Were there heartbreaks along the way?
Oh, sure. You don't, nobody, you know, the yellow brick road is bumpy.
Yeah.
As nice as it is and all. Yeah, there were disappointments, there were discouraging things, but it just seemed like the longer I stayed at it, you know, things got a little better and a little better, and here we are all these years later.
Yeah. Now you have done, I mean, you're the jack of all trades. You've done it all. I mean, from songwriting to entertaining, taking that show on the road for millions of miles, game show host, acting, on and on and on. There's just not much Bill Anderson hasn't done.
Except your podcast until today.
Well, this is the utopia right here.
This is the top rung on the ladder.
That's right. And you're welcome, Bill. You're welcome. But you've just done it all.
I've got a doormat outside my front door at my house, and you know what's written on that doormat? One word: blessed.
Yeah.
Because I have been very,
Amen.
very blessed,
Yeah.
and I know it, and I'm thankful for this.
I am a big fan. I've been a big fan of yours for years and years and years. I remember the Wild Weekend, The Corner of My Life, the songs for all the lonely women in the world, and I mean these are songs I grew up on, and has placed Bill Anderson a special place in my life and my family because we all watched you on TV, and we didn't get off the farm too much, you know, so our connection with you was your television shows and that good old Nashville music and on and on and on. But one of the things that I think that I have always loved about country music and especially Bill Anderson music, is that you always make the listener feel at home, part of the family. You have a way of communicating that just puts people at ease.
Well, you know, Herb, I'll tell you, a long time before I was ever a songwriter or a disc jockey or a performer, I was a country music fan.
Yeah.
I know what it feels like to stand in line and wait for an hour to get Hank Snow's autograph, because I did it one time when I was about 12 years old.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to buy a ticket to a show and to go in and, you know, hope I've got a seat close enough where everybody doesn't look like little Jimmy Dickens.
Yeah.
I've had those years of being a fan. I'm still a fan. And I think by virtue of that and the fact that I am a fan and have been a fan all my life, I kind of know how the fans feel. And I know that it's special to them when you answer a letter that they write to you, or you sign an autograph for them, or you send them a picture when they ask for one. So my connection with the fans started on the other side. I was the fan, and then was lucky enough to get on the other side and become the performer and the writer.
Who were the first of your heroes that you met?
Oh, that I
came
met?
into the business?
Oh, wow. You mean that I met other than just saying, may I have your autograph? Thank you very much.
Yes, when you came to Nashville and it was happening.
I've got some old Polaroid pictures that somebody took of me on one of my early trips to Nashville. I was probably 18 or 19 years old. And I'm standing next to Marty Robbins in one of them. I'm standing next to Farron Young in a couple of them, and different sidemen, musicians, and things like that. George Morgan was the first opera star that I ever really went on tour with. And he treated me so great. I just love that man, and to this day, his daughter Lori and I are very, very close friends. And oh golly, there were so many. You know, I came here at such a fertile time in the early 1960s, because the newcomers in those days were Roger Miller, Willie Nelson, Tom T. Hall, Loretta Lynn, Dolly Parton. We were the new generation. Mel Tillis. We were the ones that were coming in and doing things a little bit different from the way that Roy Acuff and Bill Monroe had done them, and the others back in the past. You know, so having that connection and that opportunity to come in and meet those people and kind of grow up with a bunch of them. At the same time, while I was still idolizing Farron and Carl Smith and Webb Pierce and the ones that came ahead of me.
It is difficult, as I've always said, if you live long enough, you're going to see stuff. But if one of the toughest things through my life is to say goodbye to those who are so dear to me, in the business and not in the business. And you have been around them all. You have said goodbye to a lot of them. I know that I've watched Family's Country Reunion and seen the programs where you said so long to people, Grandpa Jones, and that has to be tough.
It is, and we did tribute shows to people like Ray Price, and there's the guy that cut my first song, you know, and here we are doing a tribute to him with his widow and talking about his life and his career, doing a tribute show to Merle Haggard with his 3 sons after Merle passed away. And that's been tough. Somebody told me the other day, we did Country's Family Reunion for 23 years. And somebody told me the other day that of all the people, and we had hundreds of people on there, 90 people that were on Country's Family Reunion are no longer with us.
Oh my.
90. Said goodbye to a whole bunch of them, and it hurt every time.
What a vault of treasures to go back through that.
We thought, and I told Larry Black this the other night, we were together, and I said, you know, Larry, when we started Family Reunion, we thought we were creating entertainment, but we were really creating history. We were documenting history.
Absolutely.
I would give anything, I mean, as much as I treasure what we did in the 23 years we got to do it, can you imagine what it would have been like if we could have started 10 years earlier than we did? And we could have gotten Farron Young and Webb Pierce and Minnie Pearl and Roy Acuff and Bill Monroe and the people that we missed.
Yeah.
We got so many, and they are treasures, every one of them. But sometimes I think, boy, if we could have just gotten some of those others too.
I know. Back during your career, it was became the golden age of the duets, and you had a few female singers with you down through the years.
Yeah, I did. You know, that was kind of the era when, several of us had our own syndicated TV shows. Porter had the Porter Wagner Show with Norma Jean, pretty Miss Norma Jean, and later somebody named Dolly Parton. And and then, of course, the Wilburn brothers had their show with Loretta Lynn. And it kind of became a thing of the Wilburns would go on the road and Loretta would be part of their show and Porter would go out and Dolly would be part of his show, or Norma Jean. And so people kind of expected, Bill Anderson had a show, you need a, quote, girl singer on your show. And I bet you don't remember who was the first female singer on my show.
Jan Howard. No.
The first one. The very first female singer on my show was Jean Shepard. Jean Shepard was on my show for a year.
Yes, I do recall.
And Jean, we were taping in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time. And, it was a long ride before the days of interstate highways going over those mountains to Charlotte. I think after about a year, Gene kind of burned out on it. Grandpa Jones was on those early shows too. And then he lucked out and got a job on a little show called Hee Haw and did pretty well. But Jan had come over and been a guest on our TV show, and the producers liked her, and when Gene decided not to come back for the second season, they hired Jan, and Jan started a great career with me on television, and then she switched from Capitol Records, where she had been recording, over to Decca Records, where I was, and the natural next step was for us to start making records together. Yeah. And for 7 years we did that. We had several #1 records and big hits, and traveled the world together, and made a lifetime worth of memories.
Oh, absolutely. Then Mary Lou Turner.
Mary Lou Turner came along after Jan decided that maybe she wanted to be more than just the girl singer in Bill Anderson's band, And she went out on her own and had some very successful years. Mary Lou Turner came along and was with me for another 7 years. And Mary Lou came back to the opera. She's in Branson now. Of course, Jan has passed away. But MaryOu is in Branson and came back this past summer. And we sang sometimes in the Grand Ole Opry for the first time in, 20 years or so.
What a great song.
And thank you. And she's coming back, we're getting into the 100th anniversary of the Opry in 2025. And Mary Lou's coming back, and we're going to do some of our old songs together.
That's wonderful. It'll be a big celebration.
It's going to be a year-long celebration. Yeah. It's just going to be an incredible. I've been privy to some of the plans, and thank God, it's just going to be an incredible year.
I have to bring this up because I'll be honest with you, I just heard this morning, and I was just knocked out by it because of you. A video that you did. I think it's because of you. Thanks to you. Thanks to you.
Thanks to you.
What a great piece of work that is. I mean, very touching.
So you saw the video?
Yes.
This morning? Yeah, we had a lot of fun making that video. I remember we spent a couple of days inside and outside and around.
Yeah.
Have you seen the video for the newest one we got out, or the last one, I'll forget?
No, but I heard about it.
I hope you'll check it
I
out,
will
and
check
I hope
it out.
the people out on the other side of that camera over there, I hope they'll check it out as well.
Yeah.
It's a song that I'm very proud of. I think it's probably among my very favorite songs that I've ever done.
We'll check it first thing.
And the video has come. It's a lyric video, which is the thing a lot of people are doing now, where they show some of the scenes that were made to the music, and then put the lyrics up on the screen so people can read them and understand them, and sing along if they want to.
You are you remain relevant for so many reasons, not the least of which is because you're so talented. But there are so many young artists who are wanting to write with you. And that just perpetuates, that keeps the momentum going.
I love writing with the young kids. There's so many of them out there that are just so incredibly talented.
Yeah.
And when one of them calls me and said, I'm a fan of your writing, I'd love to write with you, I fall all over myself trying to find time to do it. I love doing it. I've got quite a few writing dates in 2025 with some of these new up-and-coming young artists and writers. People have asked me down through the years, well, back in the day, why didn't you write with Harlan Howard and Hank Cochran and John D. Loudermilk and Tom T. Hall and these people that came along? There were a lot of restrictions back there in those days that we couldn't write together. If we wrote for different publishing companies, if one was an ASCAP writer and one was a BMI writer and all that kind of stuff. But all of those walls are down now. And it's so much fun to be able to write with these young ones. And I mean, golly, to go in a studio, go in a writing room with somebody like Jamie Johnson, who's so incredibly talented. It just has a mind that just never stops. I learned as much from them as they learned from me.
Sure.
Let me say that.
Are you comfortable where you are in your career at this point? Can you think of anything that you'd rather do?
No.
Can't think of
I
anything
couldn't.
you'd
I haven't
rather
been able to think of anything I'd rather do for 60 plus years.
Yeah.
And so therefore I haven't done anything else. I don't know how to do anything else. I can't drive a nail straight in the wall. I couldn't lay brick if somebody told me to. There's just so many things I can't do. And to be able to find something that I can do, that I enjoy doing, that's one of the greatest blessings of all. I tell a lot of these young kids that, they come up to me and they don't know what they want to do in life. Not only ones that want to be in the music business, but just, friends of my children, my grandchildren. I tell them to find something you like doing so much you'll do it for nothing.
Yeah.
Then learn to do it well enough that they'll pay you to do it.
Yeah.
And that's when you got it. And that's what I've been able to do.
What about family? Family is important to you.
Very important to me. I have 3 children, one of each kind. Yeah, figure that out, okay? No, I have 2 daughters and a son.
Yeah.
I have 8 grandchildren.
Now, John Anderson's your son, isn't he?
Well, yeah. And Glenn Anderson was my mother. No, I'm before this starts rumors, I was no kin to Lynn Anderson, no kin to John Anderson. Love them both. So proud for John getting in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I told him we'll never have too many Andersons in here.
There you go. There you go. Well, all the best to you, and gee, what a thrill it is to sit down with you at long last, and you've got a friend, and you've got a fan as long as this boy's living.
Thank you, Herb. I appreciate that very much.
appreciate
I'm
that.
just glad we were able to finally do this. I'm glad you're doing these shows and letting the people kind of get to know some of us
Yes.
a little different way than just standing behind a guitar and a microphone.
There you
So,
go.
I know country fans, they can't ever know too much about you. And that was really kind of one of the premises of Country's Family Reunion,
Yeah.
to let the fans know what the artists are like
Right.
as human beings other than just as stars and singers and that kind of thing. So
And that's what
let
it's
me
about.
thank you for letting me be here today and visit with your friends and fans, and hope we can do it again. We need to start planning it now so we can do it in 10 years.
I know it. Where can Bill Anderson fans find Bill Anderson's music?
I thought you'd never ask. Other than me selling it out of the trunk of my car down on Broadway on
I'm sorry, it's
Saturday
a little
night.
breezy these days.
My website is just billanderson.com, and you can go there and you can find our music. I have a newsletter that I do once a month, the first of the month. I write a letter to my fans. I have a column called Ask Bill where they can write in and ask me questions and stuff. I have the list of the dates that I'll be appearing on the Grand Ole Opry and that kind of stuff. So just billanderson.com. It's real easy. Or, you know, if you're not into the computers and all, you can always write me a card or a letter in care of the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'll get it.
That's great. I've got to ask just one more. Where did Whispering Bill come from?
I don't know.
Were you trying to hide something?
We were talking earlier about my old syndicated television show with Jan Howard and everybody. After Grandpa Jones left, I had a little comedian on my show named Don Bowman.
Oh, yeah,
You may
I know
remember
Don.
Don. He made some records for RCA.
Bo Weevil Airlines.
He was a funny little dude. And Don was the one that hung the Whispering Bill name on me. And,
Oh, is that right?
and he would go around telling everybody he was doing television shows with old Whisper or Whispering Bill. And next thing you know, Ralph Emery was on the radio and he was calling me Whispering Bill. And, you know, in the very beginning, I'll be honest with you, Herb, I kind of felt like, well, they're making fun of me and they're kind of picking on me and kind of hurt my feelings. But I came to realize later on, number one, as Ferlin Husky told me, because people imitate me, you know.
Oh, yeah.
They go imitate Bill Anderson and Ferlin, and so many of them did, the Whispering Bill and all. Ferlin said, number one, if you weren't different, there wouldn't be anything there for me to imitate.
That's right.
And then he said, if I didn't like you, I wouldn't give you the publicity.
That's right.
So I changed my mind. There's Bill Andersons in every phone book in the United States, or William Andersons, or Billy Andersons.
Yeah.
But there ain't but one Whispering Bill.
That's right.
Thank goodness that got to be me.
That's you. That paid off well. Bill, thanks again.
Thank you, pal. I
You're the
enjoyed
very
it.
best.
Thank you.
And Happy New Year to you. Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
And hopefully our paths will cross again.
I certainly hope so.
Whispering Bill Anderson on Beyond the Stage. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching Beyond the Stage. If you enjoy what you see here, please click like at the bottom of your screen and subscribe to my channel. For more of your favorite country music and the men and women who make it great, I hope you'll visit us often here on Beyond the Stage.